Many of the Advisory Council members, past and present, are here with us tonight, and I just want to thank them all for being here. This is a volunteer group of community leaders in the arts and culture who come together to provide oversight to the Kresge Arts in Detroit program and also to select the eminent artist each year. And you know, it really was a unanimous decision this year on the part of the Advisory Council, and the conversation surrounding his selection, Bill's selection, was filled with reverence and stories of his astounding impact. So Bill Rauhauser is a master lensman, and he doesn't just make art with his camera, he makes it with his eyes, his heart, and his head. For more than 60 years, Bill has helped shape Detroit's photographic community, teaching and mentoring young artists, introducing the community to photography as an art form through his pioneering gallery, Group 4, and capturing the rhythm and life of the city through his iconic images. His work as an artist is matched only by his achievements as a historian, curator, and teacher. He's an inspiration to photographers and photography lovers alike. Often Bill is referred to as the Dean of Detroit Photography, and tonight it's our honor to add a new title to his dossier, 2014 Kresge Eminent Artist. CCS is honored to partner with the Kresge Foundation to administer the Kresge Eminent Artist Award as well as the Kresge Artist Fellowships. This award, which as you know, or maybe some of you don't, comes with a $50,000 prize and a gorgeous monograph published by the Foundation's Communications Department. And the award celebrates artists whose lifelong influential work and commitment to our city are unmistakable. The award reminds us of the rich creative talent that resides in the city and how high the level of that talent is. And all of us at CCS are really pleased and grateful to be a part of this collaboration, which allows us to recognize such remarkable artists like Bill. The Kresge Foundation established Kresge Arts in Detroit to support and encourage the artists who enrich our lives here. We are so grateful to the Foundation for making the arts, and specifically individual artists, a part of its effort to strengthen the city of Detroit, which as we all know, is pretty vast and major. The program is a product direct from the amazing mind of the Foundation's president, Rip Rapson, and as always, it's my distinct pleasure to present him to you. Please join me in welcoming Rip Rapson to the podium.
Oh, thank you, Michelle. Amazing mind indeed. The pleasure of standing in this court is exactly, I think, as Michelle described. I mean, it just represents a confluence of so many different factors tonight. I mean, one, and first and primary, of course, is our honoring of Bill. But I also want to thank Graham and Anne Marie for opening up this space. Both tonight and generally. I mean, as many of you may remember, it didn't always look like this. And the fact that we have soft chairs that people can fall asleep in while I speak and otherwise get comfortable is, I think, a recognition by Graham and Anne Marie how central a role the DIA plays in the life of this city. And so opening it up and making it even more hospitable to visitors than it would otherwise be is a great thing. And I would also just be remiss before I talk about our honoree in not recognizing the team from Kresge who has been so remarkable, not just in pulling together some of the events of this evening, but in helping Detroit get back on its feet. I always feel I need to start with Laura Trudeau, who runs the Detroit program. And for those of you who know Laura, she needs no introduction, but for those of you who don't, just rest assured that there would be no light rail, no Detroit Future City plan, no Kresge Arts in Detroit program without Laura. She is extraordinary. She's run the program ever since I have arrived, and we are all as a community in her debt. So thank you, Laura. But we also have Cynthia Shaw with us, who toils tirelessly to make sure that all of these events come off as beautifully as they do, and who is in charge of our communications work. Kim Herron, who does yeoman's work in helping Cynthia make things done. Who else am I missing? Ari Simon, who is my deputy and our chief strategy officer at Kresge. For those of you who haven't met Ari, who's still relatively new to town, go bug him, ask him for a grant, do something, make him feel needed. That would be helpful. And perhaps last but not least, is that George through the way there? I've never seen George in a suit, so I didn't recognize him. George Jacobson, who runs the Kresge Arts program day to day for our Detroit team. And right in front of George is another legend in her own time, Sharon Zimmerman, whom you all know, one of the great figures of our art community. So let me turn quickly to the business at hand, and I won't be long for those of you who are standing. In our Eminent Artists, we offer exceptional lifelong achievements and contributions to the cultural vitality of metropolitan Detroit. You know, I'm really delighted and honored to look around the room and see our previous awardees. Bill Harris, where did Bill go? He's sliding around. Hey, Bill, how are you? As well as the poet and publisher Naomi Long Madgett. We're just delighted to have you with us. And as you all know, we've honored in the past David DiChiara of the Opera Theater, Marcus Belgrave, and the visual artist Charles McGee. Each one of these has held up the mirror of art to our community and taught younger generations to embrace that same standard of excellence that they represent. So let me say just a few words about this year's honoree, the photographer, the scholar, the teacher, and the mentor, Bill Rauhauser. Bill is a quintessential street photographer, the quintessential Detroit street photographer. As you'll see in our slideshow, if you haven't seen it before, Bill's genius is to capture for posterity fleeting moments in the hurly-burly parade of humanity. He photographs people whose faces, whose body language, whose way of moving in the world captures our attention and prompts us to pause, to think, and to wonder. Sometimes he shows us urban grit that we simply can't ignore. His preference for black and white makes us all the more aware of the human geometries of light and shadow that last no more than the blink of an eye. Every year, as part of honoring the eminent artist, we produce a monograph of the artist's career. And every year we find that these artists have led richer lives than we imagined, made contributions to their art and their community far deeper than we initially understood. In Bill's monograph, which will come out later this year, we'll tell you a story about how a Detroit kid who first bought his camera for 39 cents during the Depression traded a stamp collection for a better camera and found the course of his life forever changed. While he pursued his first career as an architectural engineer, Bill honed his craft on the side. He became a disciple of the great French photographer Henri Cartier-Bresson. He took to heart Bresson's belief that the photographer is a poet of the decisive moment. And to capture those decisive moments in the streets, Bill has come to own 3 iron rules: be there, be ready, and be lucky. In his 30s, Bill saw one of his photos chosen for Edward Steichen's The Family of Man, which is still hailed as perhaps the most important photo exhibit of all time. In his 40s, he was a leader in forming, here in Detroit, what is argued to be the nation's first gallery dedicated solely to photography. That gallery was yet another significant step in the elevation of photography from the realm of hobby to the realm of art. In his 50s, Bill found his new calling at what is now the College for Creative Studies. After 4 years of teaching at night, he cut short his engineering career to teach full-time. He conveyed technical knowledge, to be sure, But he also put his stress on the soul of the work. Along the way, he was instrumental as well in helping the Detroit Institute of Arts, where we're gathered here tonight, of course, to build its original photo collection. All the while, he was shooting, shooting, shooting. He shot lunch counters and auto shows, parks and grocery stores. He shot street life in endless permutations. We asked Bill to do some math for us. He says that he's probably shot on the order of 72,000 images. And yet, at a fraction of a second each, think about how little time that amounts to. Those fleeting, precious moments. We estimate something less than 15 cumulative minutes his shutter has been open across his 80 years of shooting. But in those minutes, decisive moment by decisive moment, Bill has captured his times and our city for eternity. So it's my pleasure now to ask you to raise a glass if you have one, if otherwise, just look in Bill's direction, for a toast. The advice to be there, be ready, and be lucky applies to more than street photography, and we are eminently lucky to have Bill Rauhauser as Kresge's Eminent Artist for 2014. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you so much, Rip. That was really beautiful. And, where am I? So, one of the great value-added components of our Kresge Arts in Detroit program is that not only do we offer these wonderful awards, and of course the monetary prizes are very special, but we also have a film program as part of the both the Fellowship and Eminent Artist Award, and we engage the great collaborative team of Corey and Stephen McGee from Stephen McGee Films to create beautiful documentary films on all of our awardees. This year, we're especially pleased to be able to premiere Stephen's new film on our Eminent Artist at our event tonight. So just for a few minutes, I ask you to settle in. It's a lovely, intimate portrait of Bill and his work, and I'm really very pleased to present it to you now.
To do street photography, you've got to keep moving, be ready, be lucky. I started photographing Detroit according to the photographs that I took showed Detroit as a city of champions. Art school, democracy, and glory days of Detroit. This guy was sitting here, he just framed himself in that sarcophagus like option. I thought Detroit would do. Every person I photographed represented some basic element of life in Detroit. The automobile show I photographed for 3-4 years in a row. I also would go to the state fair, wherever there were people.
His larger body work, which probably ranges up to about 10,000 images at this point, are wonderful pictures of what's disappeared now, really. Like on Liberty Avenue, carnivals, music parks like Bobble Island. He saw it all.
But I had an opportunity to teach them. At 6 years, I accept that. Took 4 years or so.
He was a great teacher. It was like that. Visually, and found his strength, and found a way to bring that out. He was educated, was almost as important as the work he did. I got to know him in the 1980s.
Stephen, where are you? Stephen McGee, there he is. Just waved, everybody. So I'm going to ask Bill, if you don't mind, to come to the stage. And if somebody could help him up. Unfortunately, CCS's president, Rick Rogers, could not be here with us tonight, but he asked me to stand in for him to honor Bill, his friend and his longtime colleague. You can just stay right there. That would be, yeah, just for a minute so he doesn't have to stand up here too long. In 2011, CCS conferred upon Bill, our longtime professor emeritus, an honorary doctorate of fine arts. Rick's citation was a glorious reverie, which on Rick's behalf, I am honored to share with you now. And these are Rick's words. Bill Rauhauser, artist, teacher, historian, curator, essayist. You are the indispensable linchpin of the Detroit photographic community. From the Univex to the digital age, from the family of man to the car and the camera, from Boblo to baseball, you have explored and illuminated every dimension of photography. Shaper of light, tracer of geometries, renderer of essential form, seeker of perfect moments, you are a ceaseless observer. You are the flaneur, whose element is Detroit, whose walks have produced a powerful chronicle of the street, which makes the heart ache with regret for what is gone, and soar with love for the sights, stories, and souls that endure. Though you have photographed largely in one place, your lens has captured a world. With an eye for truth, you invest beauty in the mundane, nobility in the commonplace. From the fleeting, you distill the human qualities that abide. The authenticity of your pictures reveals the integrity of the man, a mentor, role model, and inspiration to generations of photographers at CCS, in Detroit, and beyond. Bill, the Kresge Foundation, and the College for Creative Studies are proud to name you 2014 Kresge Eminent Artist, and it is my pleasure to present you with this golden envelope in which contains multitudes. Sorry, I screwed up the route.
Oh, I don't know. What can I say after that? You know, I just better sit down, forget about it. But I'll never forget about it, no. But, you know, what's left that I can talk about? She did a great, beautiful job, these two people. Exaggerated a little bit, but I don't mind. But what I'm going to say is it's just a little section out of the 3-hour talk that I had ready to give you, but it's really an amazing thing to me to realize that you feel this way about me, and because I just never thought of that. You know, I just walked the streets of Detroit and photographed it. But I did see one thing which I think might interest you. When I started photography, and you mentioned the 39-cent camera, But at the time, I was making 10 cents an hour at a grocery store, which was fine. I was in high school, and but from that point on, I was hooked on photography. But I realized also that at that time, since the only thing that photography was about was amateurism, it was a hobby, and I couldn't quite see spending the rest of my life walking around with a hobby. So I had to do some fast dancing to find out what I wanted to do. But I did get a degree in architectural engineering, and but all through that period I was thinking photography. It already had settled in my brain somehow, and there it was, and there it will be forever. Of course, I won't be around forever, but probably not. But anyway, it's. But I did see, and this is the one point I want to make that might be of interest, from a hobby, a total hobby as a photography process, to an accepted fine art program. Oh, that was an amazing story for me, and a wonderful time to live through that, and to see that something was happening, but not really sure that it would. But three things occurred, three events that I think played a tremendous role in this. One was when Ellen Sharp was made curator of the graphic arts department. And one day I got up from a place in the Kresge court and walked up that little circular stairway, which I love, and knocked on Ellen Sharp's door. And I said, I introduced myself, and I said, if there's anything I can do here, like cleaning the floor, washing the walls, whatever you want, I'll be happy to do it. And just volunteer. So she said, come right in, Bill, come right in. And she said, here's our photographic collection. She opened up a drawer, and there were 50 photographs in there. The total collection of the DIA this was in the late 60s, I'm sorry, when she started. And the room, the drawer was full of drawings and sort of scattered about, because like I said, there was only 50 there. But she said, okay, Bill, you can sit down and start curating these, setting them up, sessioning them, which I did. And then after that came, with a few intermediate people, but Nancy Schoike and Nancy Barr, who came and continued on the purchasing of photographs for the DIA collection until it's now reached somewhere over 10,000 slides. Now that took from the 60s to today to get that done, but it did work. We did really see at that point that the start had begun, and Detroit was beginning to move toward a fine art position. The second institution that I think played a big role in that transition from history to fine art program was the Halstead Gallery, and I think Tom Halstead is here today. Now, Halstead is a great guy. He's a little strange, but he's a great guy. And he played a tremendous role in that growth of Detroiters toward a recognition of photography as an art form by bringing in work of some of the masters of photography from Europe, from New York, from California, wherever. And he played the role beautifully. I mean, I can't give enough credit to Tom for hanging on to that gallery and doing what he did to get people to. The student, as a teacher, I could bring the classes over and show them the work of August Sander, for example, some of the great photographers that otherwise we would never have seen. So, I think we should, I will say it, Tom, you're a great guy. The third one and the last one of the basic institutions that helped progress this city into such a feeling that photography could be worthwhile and was an art. And that was CCS, Center for Greater Study. College of Creative Studies. And when I first joined, it was kind of it was, when I talk too long, it's a dangerous thing to offer a podium and a mic to an ex-professor. I mean, I love it up here. I probably will never step down. But anyway, where was I? Okay, see what I mean? CCS. In the late 60s, the CCS opened and inaugurated a photographic department that gave degrees for the first time in the city, and the first time in many places around the country. And Bob Vigiletti, was the curator or the chair of the first photo department. And I ran into him going to see a show of his in Birmingham of, I think it was Ansel Adams. He could probably remember that for sure. But as I was going in, he was coming out, or Vigiletti was coming out. We talked a little bit. Now, I had been giving lectures in history, photography to camera clubs, libraries around, and one strange one to a group of funeral directors. Now, I could never quite understand why the group of funeral directors would be interested in what I had to say about photography and the history of photography. It dawned on me. I thought, the family album. The family album is full of dead folks, and that just fits right into the funeral director's thinking. So I thought there was a reason. But anyway, I had been learning history of photography and reading. I'm a great reader anyway. But he said, hey, I need someone to teach history of photography. Are you interested? I said, yeah, I'd like to try that, sure. And so I did. I tried it. It was just a night class. I spent the year teaching photography history at the Center for College for Creative Studies. And then he called me up in the summer, and he said, hey, Bill, the enrollment here is blasting away. I need a full-time instructor. He said, would you be interested? I said, sure, why not? I'd be interested in that very much. I had to start with Doris, my wife, though, because it was a cut in about 50%. But I talked to her, Doris, and I told her what I'd like to do. She says, so do it. Do it. You won't be happy if you don't do it. So I did it, and I spent 30 years there. Now, over my career, my total career, I spent 30 years in engineering. I had gone for a degree in architectural engineering at the University of Detroit, but I graduated in '43, and I worked for 30 years I worked in engineering. And then quit that. I took think a minute here, great New York catcher. I just tried to slip his name. Here, wait a minute. Yogi Berra. He said at one point, he said, if you come to a fork in the road, take it. And I never forgot that. So I took it, and I spent 30 years teaching school at CCS. And but those three institutions are really what turned the world around as far as Detroit was concerned. Now, as I said, I can go on for another hour or two, but I won't. So you can just go back to the bar again. Thank you very much.
Forgot your check.
Sorry, I like to change it.
You forgot your check, Bill. You want to donate it back? No. Oh, here you go. So thank you, Bill. Just before we finish up, a slew of thank yous I'd like to extend. First, as Rip pointed out, I want to send a huge thank you to our friends here at the DIA for making this evening possible tonight, to Graham Beal, to Anne Marie Erickson, to Nancy Barr, to Lori Filippo, and to Stephen McCullen in AV. We're really pleased to be able to celebrate Bill tonight in this room that inspired so many of his wonderful, iconic images. I'd like also, obviously, to thank the Kresge Arts in Detroit staff at CCS, Christina DeRose, Andrea Ulapoti, Erin Marie McDonald, and Milana Duffy. They are amazing people who make this program thrive and who created this evening for all of us tonight. To Rip and all of our friends at the Kresge Foundation, what you do for this city and its artists is unparalleled, and we are eternally grateful. Thank you very much. And finally, to Bill Rauhauser, you exemplify what it means to be eminent and represent everything this award seeks to celebrate. You are an amazing artist, educator, and mentor who for years has nurtured the cultural life of our city, and for that, we all thank you. So please stick around, enjoy some more food and cocktails, and as you leave, please be sure to take a Bill Rauhauser commemorative cookie, which will be out on the table there. And thank you all for being here tonight to celebrate our 6th Kresge Eminent Artist. Good night.